As far as the people that are supporting him, Josh, there was an article in Vox today that said that Trumpism would be an ideal third party, given that they're just as anti-Republican right now as they are anti-democratic. Do you think that the angry, xenophobic, racist people will kind of splinter off from the Republican Party that for the past 2 days has denounced Trump's very popular Muslim ban?
Well, I mean, one can only hope. And I say that because, again, the Republican Party is in serious trouble. If Trump somehow wins the nomination, I still have enough faith in Americans and society in general that he would not win. I think it would be a resounding landslide for whatever Democrat. I mean, I think a coat rack with a hat on it would probably win over Donald Trump in a general election. So I think that the best thing to do would be if Trump were to create like some kind of third party and then just purge the Republicans of this element. Because whether a Democrat or a Republican, liberal or conservative, no one side is going to get it right all the time. You need a rational opposition party to, push up against these ideas and make sure that it is good governance. And that's something we don't have now. We haven't had that for arguably since the Democrats took the House in '06.
Well, I think it's pretty rare that you have a two-party system in a developed world country, right? And in Europe, you're seeing a lot of the National Front in France, UKIP in the UK. They're rising basically on a platform of just straight up anti-immigrant, anti-minority, anti-Muslim, just forget economy, forget all that. This is going to fix everything. Just get rid of the minorities. Do you think that if Trump, let's say he loses the nomination and then runs as a third party, which he's threatened to do again this week, do you think that then could birth that sort of movement here in the U.S., Peter?
Well, I think the key difference is the European countries are parliamentary systems. So there's a lot more room for a lot of smaller thought groups who can find their own place and bring their influence into the system, and at the same time not really dominate thinking. In America we have roughly two winner-takes-all type contests, right? I mean, one party gets the White House and the other party snatches up the Senate and maybe the House separately. But you do have this sort of sense that if you have any outliers, they have to be absorbed into the group. I like Josh's concept that Trump could, in fact, purge the Republican Party of its. We've talked about this before, that during the primary season, Republican candidates have to say kind of these crazy over-the-top things, particularly when they get into states where the majority of Republican voters seem to welcome crazy over-the-top things. And then they have to sort of pull it back and kind of pretend they didn't say it during the general election. If Trump can take these people out of the Republican Party and scatter them around a failed independent party run, that is actually a good thing. That holds open the possibility of what our two-party system was supposed to do, and that is to create, a loyal opposition, if you will, that will keep the party in power honest, will keep the debate open and moving, and all the good things like that. But if Trump fails to take them with him, you're looking at potentially a huge alienation within the Republican Party. I think you'll see this, for example, with Democrats this time. There's a lot of Democrats who aren't fond of Hillary, but certainly would never vote Republican. They'll just stay home. And at that point, you're getting a smaller and smaller group of people who are making some of the most important decisions that we can about who's going to lead us. And in that sense, once again, I keep coming back to being afraid and fearful. That is another thing that Trump could do that would terrify me, is lower the participation, which is already crappy in the United States anyway, lower participation even further.
What do you think, Josh? Do you think we can have another splinter group similar to UKIP or the National Front?
I mean, I definitely think that it's there, but I think that, every year that we keep going, it gets smaller and smaller. I mean, that's the gut feeling. I don't have any sort of data to back that up. one of the things that Peter was talking about, I think, well, it made me think of something sort of, the part of what Peter's saying is because there aren't really leaders in the parties right now. I mean, and I hate the storybook bullshit of politics, the idea of like the party coming together behind this person with great ideas and all that. But we kind of we need someone to at least aspire to that. People the GOP candidates are running for AM talk radio host in chief. They don't want, it's not about governance. It's about looking conservative and thumping your chest and all that. And for some people, especially in times that are trying, they might respond to someone with a message of optimism, but since there isn't anyone with a fucking message of optimism, what else are they going to do? I think that if we want to continue being a progressive society, and by progressive I mean just sort of progressing and evolving in a way that is better, we definitely we will need elected officials who are looking past the next fundraising call, the next midterm. I mean, the campaign, the constant campaign, pretty much, I think, with Bush 43, maybe even Clinton. I'm not really 100% sure on that, but it's all about campaigning now and not about governing. And until it becomes that, and until there are people who are talking about what's good for the country, not what's good for the party, people will gravitate to those more extreme messages just because they sound like solutions.